Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, has released new research on the topic of how Western sanctions can influence the capability of Russia to restore its arsenal of weapons for further waging of war on Ukraine. Among the lines, we can find an interesting statement. The Kremlin reportedly traded more than 60 Su-35s to Iran in exchange for several thousand drones. The reference was an article from RAND Corporation issued in October 2022. RAND experts indeed wrote. Reportedly, Russia traded more than 60 Su-35 to Iran in exchange for several thousand drones, although without mentioning the source they used data from. These statements look interesting, but yet have no confirmation. Moreover, they don't align with openly available data. Not just about the several thousand drones from Iran, despite the plan for making those drones having only its foundation laid in March 2023, the number of 60 Su-35 being traded is also questionable. On the one hand, there is indeed information of 24 Su-35s kept in storage, hanging in mid-air, since Egypt abruptly cancelled the supply deal with Russia at the very last moment, wary of US sanctions. It would be logical to assume these jets might have been offered to Iran instead. On the other hand, the Russian Center for Analysis of Strategies and Technologies, CAST, said the country's defense industry was planning to produce 12 Su-35s aircraft in 2023. That is, we should mention, despite the fact they managed to make 7 Su-35 in 2022, only 3 in 2021, while the stable average over 2017 to 2020 was around 10 units a year. Meanwhile, Russia definitely does not enjoy an abundance of this type of aircraft. The Military Balance 2022 says Russian aerospace forces only had 97 Su-35s before they began the onslaught on Ukraine and already lost 307 various aircraft, including at least 24 Su-35 fighters. In other words, either in October 2022 or in April 2023, it's quite unlikely that Russia could sell as many as 60 Su-35 at once. For starters, the Russians yet have to produce them. Earlier, IRST's report did not carry any Russian confirmation of the deal, details of which were not disclosed. The mission said Iran had also inquired about buying military aircraft from several other unnamed countries, IRST reported. Iran's purchase of Russian fighter jets was first reported by news website Semaphore on Thursday. Russian President Vladimir Putin met Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in Tehran last July, stressing closer ties in the face of Western pressure over the war in Ukraine. Iran has acknowledged sending drones to Russia, but says they were sent before Moscow's invasion of Ukraine last year. Moscow denies that its forces use Iranian-built drones in Ukraine, although many have been shot down and recovered there. Iran's Air Force has only a few dozen strike aircraft, including Russian jets, as well as aging US models acquired before the Iranian Revolution of 1979. In 2018, Iran said it had started production of the locally designed Koser fighter for use in its air force. Some military experts believe the jet is a carbon copy of an F-5, first produced in the United States in the 1960s. Since its entry into service in 2014, the Russian Su-35 has gained a reputation as a 4++ generation fighter, well optimized for engaging 5th generation stealth aircraft, with the ability of its sensors to do so having been widely highlighted. These include its IRST radar, which can reportedly track very low observable stealth targets up to 90 kilometers away, as well as the twin ISA radars in its wing routes which operate in the X-band, in which stealth capabilities are less effective. A lower profile and less widely discussed fourth sensor which could potentially prove decisive is the IRST-35 infrared search and tracking system, IRST. The Soviet Union pioneered the widespread use of such systems on its frontline fighters in the 1980s when they were introduced on its MiG-29 and Su-27 fourth-generation fighters, with the Su-35 as an enhanced Su-27 derivative, inheriting this capability but improving on it considerably. Where the Su-27's IRST-27 IRST had a 50 km detection range against enemy aircraft from the rear, the IRST-35 improves on this by 80%, with a 90 km detection range. This mirrors how the Su-35's main radar, the IRST's 400 km detection range against 3 square meter targets, improved tremendously on the Su-27's N001 radar's 80 km detection range. Infrared search and tracking systems provide fighters with a range of benefits, including the ability to maintain situational awareness without using any radars and thus operate with zero radar signature. This is particularly useful for stealth fighters, but also has some uses for fourth-generation aircraft like the Su-35. IRSTs are also not prone to jamming as radars are and are well optimized to tracking stealth targets, which, although having reduced heat signatures, can reduce these less drastically than they can their radar signatures. Mirroring the Su-35's prior integration of this feature for the same role, the adoption of the IRST onto new variants of US Navy's F-18EF Super Hornet fourth-generation fighters was similarly put forward as a measure to allow it to more easily tackle enemy stealth aircraft. Able to monitor and follow up to 4 separate aircraft simultaneously, the IRST-35 IRST also integrates a laser rangefinder capable of operating against both aerial and surface targets and can be used to designate ground targets for laser-guided weapons. The system has been tested on multiple occasions against Western fifth-generation fighters, most notably the American F-22 Raptor over Syria, which the Su-35 was developed specifically to counter. Images show Su-35s using the IRSTs to form clear locks onto F-22s, representing one of many ways in which, in the words of U.S. Air Force General Veralyn Jamieson, operations near F-22s in the theater provided Russia with a treasure trove of information on how American air units operated. IRSTs are expected to remain a major feature on all Russian fighter classes, with the Su-35's successor the Su-57 integrating one as a 7th sensor alongside his 6 ISA radars.